Okay, before we get into our regularly scheduled reading way too much into as planned, I want to say a huge thank you to Be Terrible Movies. Those guys are awesome. If you haven't checked out their channel, check out their channel this weekend. Got to be a part of their channel and do some really awesome movie talk with them. So you can check it out by clicking the link here and check out their channel. It's in one of my featured channels on the list there, so you can check that out. Be Terrible, you rock. Back to the show. Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and I'm going to read way too much into 1995's Hackers. Just saw this movie for the first time the other day, and I gotta say, I've never seen a mid-90s movie that felt so 80s. There was like nothing in the movie that visually looked like it was from the 80s. It really all looked, 90s. But there's something about the feel of the movie and its structure that was really reminiscent of the 80s, which I thought was kind of interesting. It's also interesting to see Angelina Jolie that young. Crazy. I mean, overall, it was a movie I had fun with. I really did like the characters, and, there's just something about it where they all just kind of grow on you, and my brother-in-law, he really, really loves Hackers. So I bet he's excited to be watching this video right now to know that I have finally seen Hackers, and I did enjoy it. Even if it was a mid-90s movie that felt very much like an 80s movie, and some of the stuff that was on their computer screens, no, I don't think computers in the 90s were even capable of generating that kind of graphics. Even though it was computers for the movie that generated those. You know what? I'm just going to move on from there. Here we go. So reading way too much into Hackers. One of the things that I really, really liked about this movie and that I really took from the story was, first you got the lead guy. And his whole thing is no, I don't play well with others. And, he wants to do all that stuff alone. So when he's 11 and he hacks so many places and shuts down all this power, he gets in major trouble and he can't touch a computer till he's 18 years old. So when he's 18 years old, he kind of gets back at it, but he's all about, being a lone gun and all that till he meets Angelina Jolie and a whole group of hacker friends. And so this is why we call it Hackers, because they kind of just become this group, this friends, this team, except he's in constant competition with Angelina Jolie. So it's just that typical story going on. And then they do the fun betting in the games where she's like, okay, I win this competition, you show up on a date with me in a dress. She says this to him, and he's like, okay, well then you have to show up in a dress, which, if you saw the movie, she does not like dresses. So here they have this constant competition going until one of their friends accidentally hacks a place he should never have hacked. Messes with some bad dude stuff that should never have been messed with because the dude was stealing a whole bunch of money. He created a worm that was untraceable and all that fun stuff. And, so to cover this all up, he decided to create some kind of virus that would go and sink these major tankers around the world and things like that. And then he would pin all of that on the kids and, demanding like a $15 million ransom or something crazy like that. So really, this team of teenage hackers would take the fall, and this guy would still walk away clean. And so, yeah, they hacked a really bad dude. But what I read into this and what I really enjoyed about this part of the movie is as you get towards the end, spoiler alert, by the way, because it's a reading way too much into, as you get towards the end of this movie, the part that really got me was they put up this bat signal, right? They put up a bat signal to get all the help they can get from hackers around the world. And what I really liked about this is you had these hackers from all over the place who had not the foggiest idea who these teenagers were, but they're being framed by this really bad dude. So all these hackers band together like one body and in one massive hack defeat the bad guy, defeat all of his firewalls, take down all that stuff, and expose all the proof that those teenagers are innocent. The bad guy was guilty, and they never would have been able to do it alone. They would have never been able to do it as just their group. But when they called out for help, all those hackers from all around the world stopped what they were doing, and they all banded together and exposed this corrupt dude, which was a really amazing plot line. Because being raised a Christian and having the Christian worldview and going to church and stuff like that, I feel like a lot of times in church there's so much more division than there is that unity and that banding together. And I really feel like we could bring out a way better picture of who Jesus really is if we could drop every single little tiny offense that gets in our way and band together when somebody's in trouble. I mean, we're told to rejoice with those who are rejoicing and mourn with those who are mourning and things like that. And you know what? I'm guilty of being offended by stupid things. I'm guilty of the disunity. So I'm not saying I'm so perfect and I got it down and I'm talking down to everybody else. In no way, shape, or form am I perfect. And I'm kind of talking to myself too, that it's time to put down offenses and band together. You know, I mean, a lot of times in the church, we let denominational divides and non-salvation issues and crazy things like this just get in the way of being there for others. And what I really liked pictured in the movie Hackers was them dropping their differences, banding together, and they accomplished something amazing. Could you imagine what we could accomplish as the human race if we stopped being offended by so many pointless things, dropped all of those offenses, and banded together as like one body? Could you imagine? So that's the picture. I read way too much into Hackers. I really enjoyed the movie. I mean, it's not my favorite movie of all movies, but, you know, for what it was in 1995 and kind of just coming into it with that, I liked it. So if you saw Hackers, what did you think? If you saw it, what do you read into the movie? Make sure to let me know in the comments. While you're there, hit that subscribe button and be a part of all the new videos and things like that coming out here on Durbania. You like this video? Hit that like button. I'm Durbin. Thank you for checking out Durbania.